The Department of Justice is doing gotta catch 'em all like Ash Ketchum.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my
Gross. I can't watch that, man. That's so fucking insane. I mean, how gross. Ugh. Incompetent fascists. And they're so goddamn lame. They're lame ass fascists. Okay. Then why do you intervene? Let it fail on its own. What the fuck do you mean? If this was going to, if Jimmy Kimmel was going to fail on his own, if that is even a calculation for these mega corporations anyway, because I'm not so certain. I think it's more so about prestige that they like continue these sorts of programming. It's not because there's a lot of people watching and a lot of ad dollars that you can farm off of like the real popularity of these shows or whatever. But if that was truly a consideration, that they would do it on their own. You didn't have to actually push the FCC to demand that this person get fired. Otherwise, you're going to take action, unconstitutional action, by the way. Additionally, Nexstar overplayed their hand here. Yes, companies like ABC rely on local affiliates to carry out their programming, but local stations depend on that quality programming to be relevant. Local news isn't enough to sustain viewership in these small markets Nexstar controls. That too. And yes, Jimmy Kimmel is back. People have to understand, these guys do not actually look to the Democratic Party and think, well, there's some reasonable voices and then some unreasonable voices, and we have to forcibly excise the unreasonable voices. They say Nancy Pelosi is a communist, okay? They say anyone and everyone is a woke communist. You have to understand, the ideological differences that you might have with the left do not matter to these people. They think you are also a radical. Why are you a radical? Because you voted against Donald Trump. Why are you a radical? Because you don't like Donald Trump. Even if you voted for Donald Trump at a certain point, and now you don't like Donald Trump, now you're experiencing buyer's remorse, now you're an enemy. Now you're a radical in their minds. Please wake up. They do not factor in your own ideological tendencies when they are making this assessment, when they are presenting you as the enemy. It is all completely made up. And Republicans are great marketers, okay? They're great marketers for their political position. So they will always try to present it as like a reasonable position. They're not going to just simply say, oh, we're going after you because we hate you because you're woke and because you oppose our policies. They will try to find a reason, a reasonable reason, okay? And if they can't find one, they'll make up one. An example that I can present to you is what the Republicans online did about someone like myself. You saw my immediate response to Charlie Kirk's untimely demise was they couldn't find something that I had said about Charlie Kirk that they could present as violent. They went all the way back to 2018 to be like, see, he's violent. He's actually advocating for violence always, in a hyperbolic debate with a friend at the time. No longer a friend now, but a friend at the time nonetheless. Like, that is not a sincerely held policy position to basically turn around and say, see, he's the violent one. We got to get him. The goal here is always to try to present, for the Republicans, the goal here is to try and present a reasonable argument for an incredibly unreasonable form of prosecution. The way they designed that messaging bill wasn't just to say, like, we want Charlie Kirk to be memorialized, which, by the way, is ridiculous in and of itself. But the way they designed that messaging bill was so that they can attack people who voted against it. They do this all the time. Democrats do this all the time as well, but Republicans love doing this thing where they'll be like, oh, you have to memorialize Charlie Kirk as a deity. And also, this bill is not just about memorializing Charlie Kirk as a deity, but also condemning political violence. That's the way that they did it. It's similar to like being like, oh yeah, you have to memorialize Charlie Kirk and you have to kiss our feet. And also in this messaging bill, we're saying that murdering puppies is actually bad and wrong. And then when you say, wait, what do you mean kiss our feet and memorialize Charlie Kirk? I don't want to fucking vote for that. They go, whoa, you want to murder puppies? It seems like the Democrats are now the party of murdering puppies. Wow, I can't believe it. Why do the Democrats want to fucking murder puppies? It's right there. They voted against it. Clearly, they want to murder puppies. Look at that. Like, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what this is. Of course, no Democrat condones political violence. It is just a convenient narrative device that these guys have slammed on to the fucking actual heart of the bill, which is to memorialize Charlie Kirk. So anyone that takes that seriously and anyone that looks at that and goes, Well, don't you think it's a bad look to not condemn political violence? You are a fucking sucker. You are a fool. You are playing into their game. Some of the dumbest people on the planet are able to do this trick, are able to play this trick, this rhetorical trick on someone like yourself.
Mr. President, everyone's saying that Charlie brought you and Elon back together. Is that true?
Well, Elon came over and said hello. No, it's nothing to do with that. I thought it was nice. He came over, we had a little conversation.
I told you he's not. He's not. I don't know if Trump is quick to forgive and forget, especially when it's someone that he might hold responsible for how much people have hit him on the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. I think Donald Trump was too narcissistic to be convinced by Elon Musk trying to curry favor back with the administration. But I don't know. We'll see.
A very good relationship, but it was nice that he came over. Dana White was there, the great Dana White. The big question is having the UFC fight as I know you won't accept tickets because you're with the
JD Vance called him Hitler, dude. Yeah, he don't give a fuck about that. Are you kidding me? Also, JD Vance is a brown noser. JD Vance is a part of the apparatus. Elon presents an outside threat because of the attention he commands on the social media platform Twitter that he owns. This is not only a threat, but also one that Elon Musk has used against the administration already. Once you do that, even if at a certain point Trump is always willing to let bygones be bygones, I think it takes a lot more time, and there's other competing factors here that will cause him to recalculate this relationship and maybe not be so open-minded about like aligning with Elon ever again. Here's what Elon Musk said about this, by the way. Benny Johnson tells the story behind the scenes of Elon Musk reuniting with Trump at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. Now, Charlie Kirk really wanted Elon Musk and Trump to get along, for the record, right? He did. He openly stated it. Many right-wingers were actually very sad. It was like their fathers were divorcing their two gay dads. Does that matter to Donald Trump? Not even one bit. I don't think that Donald Trump gives a shit about Charlie Kirk beyond how he can use Charlie Kirk's memory to go after comedians who annoy him. Okay? But let's hear what Elon Musk's own perspective on the issue was.
All the cabinet secretaries, got to see a lot. Elon Musk came by a couple times, and I just want to use Elon Musk as a example of the power of Charlie's legacy. Elon Musk and Donald Trump had a bit of a falling out. Maybe you've heard of it. And that sucked, especially for guys like Charlie, who were coalition builders. Charlie Kirk was thanked on stage by Donald Trump himself for bringing together RFK Jr. and Maha movement. Donald Trump says, Charlie created Maha. I don't think Charlie ever will get the credit that he deserves for doing that. And this is the words that Elon Musk said to us in this small little group with Erica Kirk. And he said, this is why I was proud to sit with my president. This is what he called Trump, my president. He accepted Trump's invitation to go up there. And the majority of the event, Elon Musk sent sitting there with Donald Trump, chewing it up. Everyone can see here's the photos of Elon embracing Erica. And then there are photos of Elon with Trump, and they seem to be having a great time. Dana White also there. What not only was the size and scope of this and the peacefulness of it a profound eulogy for Charlie and his memory, but the cornerstone of it all, to unite the world's most powerful, richest private civilian with the world's most powerful public figure, Donald Trump. Charlie said in this chair right here, he hoped that it happened. There's a clip that went viral yesterday. Charlie saying, I pray that Elon Musk and Donald Trump reconcile. And they did so at Charlie's funeral in Charlie's memory. Mm-hmm. A profound, beautiful example of what Charlie constantly was doing for our movement. And he fused together the greatest schism that we've seen in the nascent Trump administration. And it's like the power of Charlie.
They're going to tie everything back to Charlie Kirk, and the deification of Charlie Kirk. And this is yet another version of that. I'm not so certain how much Donald Trump will give a shit. Who knows? We'll see.
Crying out. I mean, after death, crying out, and still the power of Charlie, bringing together these tectonic forces that should not reconcile. These are two stubborn men. These are two men that don't need to.
Through Charlie Kirk, everything is possible. Dude, I don't know where to begin to talk about this, but Charlie Kirk was professionally yelled at by college campus leftists and liberals. Okay, that's it. He would just go to college campuses and try to overpower freshmen who were standing in front of a microphone for the first time, and he would just cut propaganda off that. That's it. It's a SJW own compilation. But for these guys, it's like the most consequential, most pivotal figure in the administration. Section 1, Antifa is a terrorist threat. Antifa is a militarist, anarchist enterprise. Well, that's how you know they're not going to come after me, because I take showers and I am not an anarchist, okay? First, they came after autism. Now they're coming after Antifa. I don't even know what else they can do to hit me on this day, okay? Let me just say, First, they came for Jimmy Kimmel, and I did not speak out. First, they came for the pro-Palestine protesters. I did not speak out. Then they came for Jimmy Kimmel, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't Jimmy Kimmel. Now they're coming after Antifa. Then they came after autism, and I didn't speak out. And now they're coming after Antifa, and there's no one else left to defend me. Antifa, the president of Antifa, the CEO. Sad day for Antifaism. Yeah, kind of makes you want to down a couple Tylenol and go to bed. No, do not take Tylenol. We listened to the big, beautiful, bold president today, and he said, do not take Tylenol. You will be autistic. Trump urges Attorney General Bondi to investigate political enemies. We're going to continue with our news
pressure
coverage.
on his Attorney General Pam Bondi, publicly calling on her to use the power of the Justice Department to prosecute his political enemies. ABC News has learned his Justice Department closed an investigation into border czar Tom Homan for allegedly taking $50,000 in an FBI sting operation. In the alleged encounter, which sources say was recorded by undercover agents, Homan allegedly accepting a bag of cash while agreeing to potentially help.
It's pretty simple. You see, if you are a part of the administration, or if you are, if you're acting out the demands of or the wishes of the administration, like if you did fucking the January 6th, for example, you're good. Your prediction was right, by the way. Yeah, Sinclair Broadcast Group, which owns 31 ABC affiliates, says it will continue to preempt Jimmy Kimmel's show. Beginning Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming. Discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return. Yeah, I told you, these guys are already right-wing, and they love being a part of the Trump admin's network of influence. They're willing to take this, like, symbolic stance against big Disney. Everyone's a goddamn chud.
Help secure government contracts if Trump won the election. ABC News has reached out to Homan for comment, but has not heard back. The White House says the administration found no evidence of illegal activity, but Democrats calling it hypocrisy. Some also citing the president's pardons of the January 6 rioters.
The Department of Justice is doing gotta catch 'em all like Ash Ketchum.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my
Gross. I can't watch that, man. That's so fucking insane. I mean, how gross. Ugh. Incompetent fascists. And they're so goddamn lame. They're lame-ass fascists. What else can you say? Several countries are formally recognizing Palestine as a state. This is a conditional statehood recognition as intended, as announced ahead of time. Of course, this is still frustrating Israel because they are hell-bent on death and destruction and do not know what no means. They've never heard it. They don't understand it. They think it's anti-Semitism. They think it's Hamas.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu unequivocal in his rejection, saying there will be no Palestinian state, adding bluntly, it will not happen. President Trump, one of Netanyahu's strongest allies, made clear last week in a meeting with Britain's Prime Minister he opposes such a move.
The question of recognition needs to be seen, and so it's part of that overall package.
So I have a disagreement with the Prime Minister on that score. One of our few disagreements, actually.
Italy cautious on Palestinian recognition as protests grow. By the way, this is a nationwide general strike that has been struck in the state of Italy. For those of you who don't understand, there is a massive initiative in Italy. There are countries in Europe. These are the last remaining strongholds for Israel's support, and they're quite significant, okay? Remember, Western nations are the only countries that still defend Israel unconditionally. They offer material support, they offer political cover, but the populations are very frustrated. The populations want no more. They recognize that Israel is doing a genocide, just as the UN has declared it as well. well. And I think we are reaching a boiling point. I think we are officially reaching a boiling point with respect to how much Western populations will cave, capitulate, and concede to Israel's demands. I think we're there. Okay. It's becoming somewhat of a chain reaction. Yes. Now, of course, the only country that will hold out, the last holdout will always be America and also Germany. But once Germany falls, it's over. The European continent has fallen. The European continent will no longer support Israel. And even if it's a symbolic gesture, the reason why I do not shit on this kind of stuff as much is because even symbolic gestures are meaningful because it expands the permission structure greatly. America and Germany and all of the other, ironically enough, Axis and Axis adjacent powers are the last holdouts. And it's not even the populations that are the holdouts here. It's the actual governments that are the holdouts. Italy being one of the countries that is refusing to move the needle. Italians, however, are very much against this. The Italian government's lack of recognition does not change the reality that the Italian population is very frustrated. Italy has secured a general strike for Palestine. Things have been boiling for a while throughout this year. Maria Luisa Fontapie reports, throughout this year, but especially since the summer, signs of support for Gaza have been everywhere from big cities to remote rural villages with just hundreds of residents. Let me say that that all the support I've witnessed this year insofar has been peaceful. People across generations / class, even some mainstream TV presenters openly and genuinely stood in solidarity with the people of Gaza. Yet inaction prevailed in politics. Right-wing conservatives have been locked into the Hamas equals terrorist narrative. Center-left stances on Israel-Palestine was also ambiguous, to say the least. Result was the deepening of a fracture between society and the political class, and anti-establishment feelings on the rise, a long-standing trait of this country. And this is not just exclusive to Italy. This is what I kept repeating over and over again. To the Western leadership, to the Western leaders of liberal capitalist democracies, if you want to maintain the aesthetics of a liberal capitalist democracy that defends human rights, you cannot continue unconditionally supporting Israel, because the populations are not only going to, one, at first, question this allegiance that you have to Israel, but then they're going to start questioning whether there is a real democratic process at all. Now, of course, there is no real democratic process, let's be real, especially as it pertains to foreign policy. These are NATO countries, obviously, so they are completely under the directive of the United States and are mere vassals for imperial interests. Having said that, obviously that is going to be a very frustrating reality to come to terms with for the Italian population, for the German population, for the French population, and the population of every European capital. And therefore, they are going to inevitably revolt. This is a much more peaceful outcome. This is a much more peaceful demand to the European leadership to take action on their own, to sever the ties that they have with the United States of America. And that is precisely the reason why many of the European countries are at least offering aesthetic conciliatory messages to the pro-Palestinian crowd. State recognition, conditional state recognition is obviously one of those instances. But of course, any kind of capitulation or any kind of listening to the demands of the crowd here, democracy taking place, is going to greatly expand the permission structure for more and more reasonable demands to also be heard. We are there now. Israel should have gotten the Russia treatment expeditiously, but it didn't because of 100 years of propaganda and influence networks that they've designed at the behest of this very moment, designed so that when this moment comes, they are not punished. And yet, you can't stop people's discontent. You can't stop people's anger. You can't stop people from protesting, no matter how hard these Western nations are trying. This isolation, Israel being a pariah state that it deserves the status of, by the way. It absolutely deserves it for far less than what they've done over the course of the last 2 years, for sure. But it absolutely is worthy of it now. This isolation will, hopefully, cause Zionists to recalculate their expansionist, exterminationist ambitions in the same way that apartheid South Africa backers recalculated their own ambitions of maintaining an apartheid structure in South Africa. But yes, bye-bye, Israel, bye-bye. what I will say today and what I will say every other day as well. Speaking of which, let's take a look at what Italy is saying and doing.
Chanting, "We're all Palestinians and stop genocide." Thousands of Italians gathered in central Rome in just one of the grassroots protests, blockades, or strike actions.
Brings a fucking tear to my eye, man. What an incredible sight. What an incredible fucking sight, dude. This is the beauty of labor. Remember, this is the beauty of labor militancy. This is the beauty of union organizing. Unions have so much power, not only in making demands that immediately improve their standing in the workplace, but also demands from the government when the government refuses to act. It took 2 years. I cannot believe I'm seeing this. I cannot believe I am seeing this with my own 2 fucking eyes. Oh my Lord.
Taking place in 80 cities across Italy Monday, denouncing the war in Gaza. Transport services and a number of schools faced disruption amid the strikes, and striking dock workers blocked access roads to ports in Livorno and Genoa.
Why am I here? Because we must be here. Because we're human beings, and that's what matters.
How do you maintain hope? I'm feeling very black-pilled lately. If you can't see hope in this situation, then you have not been aware of the overall lack of interest in this cause for 80 plus years from Western Europe. As someone who has been a political commentator for like 12 years now, in my professional career, I never thought that I would ever see the day when these things would happen. This is an opportunity for hope. This is things changing in a totally different direction. What a spectacular show of force. Incredible. And before you say at what price though, and I totally understand that, but it's a disservice to those who have been martyred by the state of Israel, the criminal entity of Israel. And it is a disservice to those who remain if you get nihilistic, if you get pessimistic in this moment. Yeah, as Nelson Mandela said, it always seems impossible until it is done.